I came to Kuranda in 1968, and we found some land that was coming up for auction at the local council. And we went up to the council chambers and managed to buy it. It was very cheap. It was only $6 a block. And there was nobody, I'd say within the modern sense, there was nobody living here other than us, really. The rest were people, old timber cutters and retired railway workers, and even bullock team drivers and hacksmen and so forth. Kuranda was shrinking. I mean, house hand land was $1,500. John Williams and Eve, Ronnie Bruce, Brian McGill, people like that. They were up here pretty quickly.
Did you forge the way?
I'd say so. Yeah. There was nobody else really. Within a year, the land had gone up from $20 a block to $50 a block. So it was sort of rising really fast. The hippie thing was a transient thing. They were gypsies, really. And they were good. It was a nice influence for a while. Music was the main thing that they brought with them. They brought great music. We had great music. You know. And I was the president of the amphitheatre for a year and a half. Yeah, that was good. I enjoyed that. The main party that went on then was that out the front of the post office on Dole Day. Is when Riley and guys like that played songs like What's It Like on the Other Side. You know, it was really good. And there was lots of girls in their 90s with bells around their ankles, dancing, and and Preacher Barry making a nuisance of himself. Well, the tourists were coming to a degree. They were coming more and more because of the things we did. That was 30 on Sunday. It was a big day, like a major amount. Only Sunday, no other day. And Mrs. Fitz at Fitzpatrick's Hotel used to serve lunch for $1.25. I think we've become a sort of very middle class suburb, upper middle class maybe. It's got a sort of the brakes on. It's surrounded by a national park, and it's got a very strong conservation ethos here. And as well as that, now it's got a good, healthy tourist industry. It should just consolidate now and just become a really nice place to live and a good place to be.
Ulrika, when did you first come to Kuranda?
In 1971.
And what were your first impressions of the place? What did you think of it?
I thought it was the most beautiful place I'd ever seen. The rainforest and the rain. It was in the middle of the wet season, so it was very, very wet, very exotic. And we stayed in Fitzy's pub, which was in the middle of town. And it was a place frozen in time.
In what do you mean that? How was it?
Well, our room was stiff with no use, if I can say it that way. The towels had hardened over the racks. The bed was, the mattress was horsehair, and everything had this kind of layer of dust and mould over it.
So it was like completely different to what you would have come from.
It was just like that. And the bathroom, when I went to have a shower in the evening with my towel over my arm, was ankle deep in water, so I couldn't have a shower. So it was sort of like that, except it was fascinating, because downstairs where the pub was, people would come in for a drink. Mr. Fitz would serve them beer with the tap still running. The tap would always be running. The beer would be just going down the gurgler. I don't know. This is how it was. There was a little group of hippie girls standing under the pub in the shelter from the rain in their swami nighties, all beautiful lavenders and pinks, and I just wanted to be one of them. They looked so gorgeous.
So beautiful.
So beautiful, these girls. No shoes. It was sort of not cold, but it was, well, if it was the wet season, it was probably humid. I just can't quite remember now. It was bleak, you know. Anyway, we stayed there for about a week, every day eating in the dining room. Mrs. Fitz would be cooking on her long-range wood, you know, oven, cooking up a storm, roasts. For breakfast there would be steak and eggs, racks of toast, pots of tea, absolutely fantastic. That's how it was.
And what about the rest of the town? How did you find the rest? Was it...
Well, the rest of the town was almost at a standstill. There was almost nobody around. The train would come up with almost nobody on board. They'd be lucky if there was a tourist on board.
Were there many shops in those days?
No, there was hardly any shops. You couldn't really go shopping. There was no shops like there are today. No T-shirts or anything like that. There was one little cafe that was mostly empty. We went in there one day to get something to eat, but as far as I could tell, it was mostly at a standstill. The whole town was kind of frozen in time like that. The train station had the most beautiful ferns growing, hanging ferns, baskets of ferns, just absolutely growing like Alice in Wonderland. I don't know who the gardener was now, but they were absolutely astounding. I had never seen anything growing like that before.
Goodness.
So we used to go down there quite a bit just to see the ferns. It was like a botanical gardens, better, amazing. Then at the end of the week, anyway, when we were staying at Fitz's pub, at the end of the week I went to pay the bill to Mr. Fitz, who said it came to 17 and 6, he said, and I said it can't be 17 and 6. We've been eating all these meals, staying all these nights. It's got to be more than that. And he got quite cross and said, if you don't like it, you can leave now. He said it's 17 and 6. And I couldn't believe it. Anyway, that was my stay, my week in Kuranda.